Hello, today is Friday, April 30th, 2021, and today we are going to be doing some Unity game development. So yesterday, oops, I need to actually put this right. So yesterday we were working on converting our 2D game from Ludum over to, originally it spawned a bunch of game objects for each of these little tiles here. Now it uses a single tile map, which is far more efficient. And we can still do the digging thing that we had before, but it is not yet complete. There are some issues that we need to resolve. The main one being, whenever we break a tile, we need to do different things depending on which kind of tile we've broken. So there's a couple ways to do that. I am trying to figure one out right now. I'm trying to figure out which one we want to do. Because I think if we get the tile, I think what we can do is we can get like tile data. Oh, we can get tile data there. Okay. Trying to think. I don't know how you associate data with a tile. I mean, I assume what I could do is I could probably. There's a couple things. Well, actually, let me look up Unity tile data here. Oops, I need to not be over there. I need to be over here. Okay, tile data. So this is the color flags game object transform. Okay, struct for rendering a tile. Okay, is there any way? I'm wondering if I just create a. Well, no, that wouldn't work. I don't know how I can tell one type of tile from another. That's sort of what I'm wondering, is how I can associate a game object with a tile. Add data to tile. Is there any way you can do that? Or do I have to do it manually? Tile maps is storing individual tile data. Interesting. So is there any way to do that? Let's check. Not that I can see. So we have that. We have a dictionary, okay. An instance, that way you could do that. Yeah, okay. So it looks like there's no real way to do that. It just has to be, yeah, okay, never mind. So we really have to link everything through a dictionary? That's super lame. It's, that's really lame. Alright, I guess that is what we have to do. Well, that really sucks. Like, half the point of using a tile map is so that we don't have to do something like that. But okay. So, given that, what we could do... Well, actually, no, that's not true, because... Or is that true? So if we inherit from tile base, so, okay. Let's think about this. Let's see if we make a, what would it be? Let's call it a block tile. Let's say that we inherit from tile, or from tile base, because I'm wondering if we can actually do this in a better way. I've never actually tried to do this, but let's see what we can do. Relatively new to the Unity tile maps. So let's inherit from base tile, or tile base, sure. Okay. So that should create a scriptable tile. Oops. Do Unity scriptable tile. So, okay. So we can create scriptable tiles. We can inherit from tile base. You can create instances using that. Get that, okay. You may convert it to a new instance by repeatedly calling that. Okay. It's not really what I was hoping for, but sure. So we can do that. Road tile, yeah, example. Didn't happen to have any code examples, would you? So there's the manual. We don't want that, we want the scripting API. Scripting. Is there any way? Scripting API into tile, and then we go into, let's say, tile base. Really can't provide me any examples, can you? Well done, Unity. It's so annoying. Any kind of example at all would be really nice. Alright. Example. There we go. Why is that in there? Why is that? I don't understand. I don't understand why they have it built this way. So this is a heading. Why do they have all the different data types and then extra things on the level of data types? At least change the icon, at least give us some kind of, like, have these be, I don't know, some kind of thing that indicates this class, and then something else that indicates this is, BS, basically. It's so stupid. Anyway, so if that menu item, so can I not just put create asset menu on this? Menu item tiles/block. What'll happen if I do that? Will that actually work? Considering that they didn't do it there, I assume it won't, but let's check. Prefabs? Probably not. We want tiles, right? Yeah, tiles. Alright. Can I just do create tiles block? What'll happen? Oh, that'll just work. Okay, well, did that work? I don't know if that worked. That's base tile. What if we inherit you from just tile itself? Just tile. And then what if we add a public, let's say block? Yeah, or block definition. And then this will just be block. Right? What if that's what we do? Then we just create this. Then what? That appears to just simply work. Okay. Well, that's cool. That appears to simply work. Does it not? I don't know why this has a special icon. That's what's throwing me off here. I wonder if that's just because it's a Unity tile and it's not set up for user-defined tiles. I would guess that that's true. Okay, so what if we set up, so instance, oh, maybe this is not what we want. So instance game object. Huh. So, okay, what if we just pick, sure, we'll just pick that for now. Now, can we add you to the tile palette? Because if we can, we by chance just add you to the, we can just add you to the tile palette. Okay, and can we paint you? We can just paint you. Okay. Well then, I guess that just works. All right. So if that's true, let's go into here and just delete these. And then what we'll do is go out here and delete these because we don't need them. And then let's get rid of all of you. Let's delete these. And then let's create, this will be default palette. Palette, like, let's forget, no, it only has one L. That's what it is. Yeah, okay. That's the default palette. And then with that, let's just erase all those pieces because we don't need them. Okay. And so what we'll do now is we'll actually create a block. And so this will be block, or just tile, block. And then we'll create a new thing that says, tile impassable, or impassable, yeah. Okay. And then what we can do is for the block, we can add background to you, and then for the impassable, we can add impassable here, right? And so we'll just create the block there, and we'll create the impassable there. And now in here, we can just use standard block data, and then in here we can use the impassable data. Okay. And then with that, so we have the diggable tile map. What we can do is in here, you can say if tile, I think you can say is type, or is it if tile is, would it be the block tile? And does it know in here? No, it doesn't. Okay. Is there a way to do pattern matching on this so that I don't have to do the cast? Oh, I can do as block tile, can't I? As that. And then if this is null, so yeah, then we'll say if tile. Okay, there we go. Now we can do that. Okay. And then we can say instantiate tile dot block dot damaged. Ah, right. Okay. Interesting. So actually, this will be the block component that we want to reference. So we'll instantiate the actual block prefab. So this will be the block prefab. Store that as a block. And we'll say block.definition is equal to tile.block. And you don't work because you're a get. Ah, okay. So, okay. Whoops, can't do that. We'll just say set. Set such that value is equal to, or sorry, definition. Okay, definition is equal to value. Yeah. Okay. Let's put these on two separate lines here. Okay. Do we actually need the parentheses here? I assume we do, but I don't remember. Yeah, we do. Okay, fair enough. Actually, no. Can we do this as expression defined? Does that work? You okay with that? Oh, you are okay with that. Okay. Cool. So in here, let's set this to definition. Definition. Okay. And so what that will do for us is that will basically allow us to have different types of blocks whenever we break one. Yeah, see, that's the problem. Is what we need to do is we need to say, oops. We need to say if tile dot impassable or dot, I guess definition dot impassable, then we return. Yeah. Because that way we can't break impassable tiles. So I think that broke a whole bunch of references, but that's probably fine. We can just re-add those references. So it's probably in the map here. Yeah, we have tile and impassable tile. So we'll have here, and then we'll have that. That might be all we need, actually. Let's check this out. Let's see if this works. Because if it did work, then we shouldn't be able to break these tiles here. No, it doesn't. Oh, interesting. Why does tile.definition have nothing in it? Oh, did it get unassigned? It got unassigned, because of course it did. Okay, so that's the default, and then here we have impassable. Okay. In theory, this should work, and that'd be really cool. Yeah, that does work. Okay. We do need to double check here. So we select you, let's just paint some tiles here. So we should be able to dig through these now. So something broke, but other than that, it's probably fine. What actually broke in here? So the block prefab, because we don't have it. Alright. Is that in the map? No, that's in the diggable tile map. Yeah, okay. So the actual prefab here is where? It's in here? Yeah, the actual prefab here is here. Okay. And of course we can store that on the block data now as well, if need be. Right. We need to paint this tile map. We need to put some tiles here. Some of you like that. Alright, cool. Yeah, so now we can dig through these. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, still it's not rendering right, like the rendering order is wrong, but that's okay. But yeah, now at least we can't dig through these, right? Cool. Yeah, great. Okay, so let's try to fix all of this up here. I'm trying to think of how to actually do that. Okay, so it's a question of whether we want the blocks to just have a single, or whether we want the block to have a single prefab, which I think it's fine that it does. Yeah. I mean, I guess now we can work on the actual map generation code, because this works for now. I'm trying to think if we'll ever need anything else from this. I don't know. We'll have to, if I see a better way to do this, I'll do it, but I don't see any better way right now. So in the map component, or no, sorry, in the map generator component, that's what it is. Yes, okay. So the map generator component, what we need to do is we need to have different prefabs here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have, well, we're really going to need all these prefabs at some point, but right now we're going to delete all of them. So we don't even need the block prefab, really. What we need are need a tile. This will be just the block, and then this will be a tile. This will be a impassable block, something like that. Then we'll serialize these two, and then we can get rid of this tile and then that tile. And I don't think we need this anymore. Yeah, we don't. Okay, so we can get rid of that. And this will be, yeah, dirt is fine here. So we can say block versus impassable block. And then in here, what we can say is tile itself. Actually, this will be block. Alright, so we can get rid of this. This is, or sorry, this one is for money, that one is for fuel. Okay. We don't need any of those. I think with this we set, yeah, I think we set the spawn here. That is how we do the spawning stuff. Oh no, this is, sorry, this is for enemies. This is not for the spawn, this is for the spawn, okay. We don't want that commented out. What we want is, we want this commented out. Alright, so do for each in range. So what we actually want here is we want to do this on the dirt layer, not the actual, yeah, want to execute this here. So I guess it's dirt dot, let's remove tile flags dot, is it delete? Or is it remove? No, I think it's delete cells. Remove cells, yeah, okay. So really we want some position here. we want to execute the action not on the block component, but yeah, it's a question of what we want to do here. Let's do int x, int y. Let's do an int int. And so we'll just execute that on position.x and position.y. Okay. Actually, no, we want it on a vector2 int. That'll work. We'll just execute it on position. Dot invoke against position. Okay. So with the select box, I don't know that we actually want this yet. Okay. Let's comment that for the moment. Okay, so with this, we'll say position. So for each do that, what we'll do is we'll say dirt dot delete cells, and we'll use the position. Can we just pass it? No, there's no override. All right. Can we do vector3 int dot 0? Yes. Okay, cool. Oh, really? There's no... Surely we can do that. Yes. Okay, cool. Okay, so we have that. Oh, wait, can we do this with vector2s? Then, because we should be able to, right? Or is there no... There's no version of that with vector2s. Okay. What are the overrides for this? Columns, rows. Ah, okay. That. Okay. So yeah, position and then that's cells. But wouldn't this be 1? Let's not worry about that. Okay. So this should clear out the position around the player. That's what it should do. Ooh, what do you not like? You don't like this. Oh, because it's is on map. Okay. Really, this should just be less than width and less than height. Strictly less than. Because that's our only way of knowing how big the map is. So let's check that out. Okay. Okay. So now we should be moved to the intro. Ooh, it did not remove the tiles. Interesting. Okay. Why did it not remove the tiles? Do we need .1 here? Is that what we need? And I wouldn't have expected that. Oh, well that's fun. Huh. Well, I've never done that before. Huh. Fun. Alright, well. Clearly that's not how we do that. Okay, so why did that not work, huh? So that should delete cells within the tile map's position, or within the tile map's bounds. I thought for sure this would be that. No, that should be fine. Yeah, all that should be fine. Yet it's not. Oh wait, why did that... Okay, so the generator is being really weird now. Okay, so let's... Okay. So what happens if we get rid of this? Does that fix it? Basically, do we at least get the edges back? No, okay. So what is broken? What did we break? Like, we definitely broke something. If it's an edge, it's the impassable block, yes. Does the map have the right things assigned? It does not. Okay. Well, that's one issue. So we need to assign you, and then we need to assign you. So now does the map generate correctly? There we go. Now that generates correctly. Okay. Now, for spawning the player, does that work correctly? It's like the whole goal here is to incrementally get this working correctly. Okay. Well, nope, that doesn't work. Okay. Why does that not work? Okay. This should delete. Oh, wait, actually, no, right. What we do is we do a set tile, right? We do a set tile at position. Right, it's at position, and then we just set it to null. Right, I seem to remember that working. Because that's really what we want. So we want a vector 3 int. Okay. Alright. There we go. That works. Awesome. Okay. Let's test out some other stuff. Can we skirt around this? Whoops. Can we? Yeah, I think we can. I think we can get through there. I think we can get through that gap. Yeah, we can. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure the collision was still the same, which it is. Okay. Awesome. Alright, so now exit stuff should just work. What we need to do instead is we need to, in this case, need to take this. We need to do that. This will be position. And then what we need to do is we need to instantiate at position the exit prefab. Ooh. Can you just not? I don't understand. This conversion should be very easy for people to do. I don't understand why those aren't convertible. That's really weird to me. Like, that makes no sense. Because position.x and position.y are guaranteed to be floats. So it doesn't make any sense why. Yeah, they're guaranteed to be floats. It doesn't make any sense to me why they can't just be promoted to ints. I don't get that. Like, I can understand why you wouldn't want an implicit conversion. That would sort of make sense. But to me, there's just no excuse for not allowing us to do that. Yeah, I could get why you wouldn't want to have an implicit conversion, because you may be passing things around and you may not notice that you've changed types. But yeah, I think there's like no excuse for not allowing just a strict promotion. Like, that's really annoying. Especially if you're doing the explicit cast. Okay. So let us. Okay, so first I want to try to dig through to here and see if we get into the exit. Yeah, okay. And so it regenerates everything properly? It regenerates everything properly. Awesome. Okay. Slowly but surely working our way back up to feature parity. The only difference here, or the only thing here, is that we're going to need to spawn enemies, and I don't think they're going to work with the tile map. In fact, I know they won't work with the tile map, but yeah. We also need a way of spawning the money blocks and stuff, but we can figure that out in a little bit. That might actually be the next thing we work on, is the money blocks. Is select box ever used anymore? No, that's the only place it's used. Alright, cool. Then we don't need it. Cool. So yeah, we got two things. We got the money blocks, and we have the enemies that need to work, and then we'll be able to call this done. Or be able to call... No, we won't be able to call it done, but we'll be able to call this work effort done. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a short, like, 5-minute break. I'm going to go get some food and some water and stuff like that. So I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Alright, and I am back. Alright, so. Why am I invisible suddenly? Freaking camera. This camera. It's going to be the death of me, I swear. I don't know how the lighting changed that much in 5 minutes. Apparently it did. Oh god. Really? Nope, this thing's just not gonna cooperate, is it? Alright, well, that'll just have to work. I'm not gonna do too much with it. Okay, so, stuff we want to do. First thing I want to do is I want to git push this, because it works. So that's in there, that's in there. We need to check, okay, bunch changes. Right. So yeah, git commit, reorganized, organized, everything, plus tile map, or map generation, fixes, alright, and let's just push everything. I should have done that in like 3 different pushes, but I'm not gonna, or 3 different commits at least, but I'm not gonna bother too much with it. Okay. Alright. So the next thing that we want to fix is we want to fix the actual blocks, like the money blocks and stuff like that. We want to get those generating correctly. So I think the way that we're going to have to do that is we're going to have to hop over to the main scene. Or no, actually what we can do is we can, in here, we can just throw them into here. Let's put some of them, oh no, that one's fine. That one, and that one we need. Alright. And we can grab those, zero them all out. And then we can take you. We can put you at 13, we can zero you out. Cool. And so what we'll do is that, and then we'll take you, and then we'll take you over here. And let's disable the shadows on all of these. Let's disable the shadows. Alright, so you, no. And you, we can disable the shadow. So let us grab, let's grab that and let's go into Inkscape. Actually, it doesn't need to be Inkscape, it needs, well, it could be Inkscape, it could also, no, it actually needs to be GIMP. Yeah, it needs to be GIMP, okay. And what we'll do is we'll just cut these out of this image, and then that way we'll have them in a solid image. So let's just paste this in here. And let's grab that. All right, so say crop to selection, and then we will, oh, that's really tiny. Wow, okay. We could upscale that, but I'm not gonna, well, actually. Let's get bigger versions of these. Yeah, let's just get bigger copies of these. All right. So now we paste this, and now let's grab, what size do we get here? So if we cut you back a little bit, we cut this back a little bit. So we do crop to selection, 249, all right. Let's scale you up to a power of 2. So let's say scale, what is it, scale image? Yeah, to 256, sure. And then we can export this to where? We probably want it, where did I actually put the other stuff? So this is in Unity, it'll be in this project, in assets, in images, in blocks. Yes, this will be block sapphire, or money, yeah, money sapphire, yes, okay. Export that, cool. Alright, so let's do one for ruby as well, and then one for emerald, and then one for fuel. Unfortunately, this is going to mean that we can't randomize some stuff about them, but we will deal with that later on. So say crop to selection file export, or no, layer will scale to 500 or 256. Whoa, no, image, scale image to 256. There we go. Now we can export to Ruby. Hey Vulcan, how's it going? Rotate them randomly. Yeah, I mean I can. So the thing is that I want. So what I wanted was I wanted the gemstone part to stay constant, just because I want this to be like the recognizable piece for it. But what I had previously is that the background itself, so back here, whenever we go to the graphics, so I was flipping this sprite randomly. And so I would just assign, you know, X and Y to be random so that it would have four different possible orientations. But I can't do that anymore because I switched over to Unity's tile map. I don't know if you saw that, but we actually switched everything over. So now instead of rendering instead of each of these being a different game object, they actually are now just one giant monolith. And it's really cool because Unity automatically like figures out the collision for us. I don't know why the collision map is not showing here. The Unity automatically figures out the collision for us, like it's all just a giant composite collider. I don't know why it's not showing that though. Why is Unity being bad? Unity's being bad. Okay, whatever. But the cool part is that we can actually dig into it now, and it like just deforms the tile map. It doesn't actually spawn a new object. So here, for instance, let me see if I can actually select this. Yeah, it's not showing the collision for some reason. Well, this one it shows the collision, but this one it doesn't. I don't know why. That's weird. But yeah, whenever we damage a block, it will have the collision, or it'll have its own collision thing. Actually, wait. I bet I can see it. No, it's just not showing the collision. I don't know why. Going okay, doing some university work. Here chilling, a bit of all I write stuff. Okay, cool, yeah, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, I'm just trying to convert everything over to the Unity tile map because it's far more efficient than trying to do, you know, trying to spawn a game object for each thing. Like, there's just no point. You know, because a tile, you know, a map that's like 20 by 20, that's like 400 game objects, 400 renderers. You know, here it's just batching all the rendering to a single draw call, which is awesome. Well, probably two draw calls actually, because there's two different tiles. But yeah. And then the cool thing that this is going to let me do is this is going to let me use Unity's built-in tile map to do like hand-placed stuff. So that if I, you know, go to the tile palette, I can, of course, edit all of this. Actually, wait a minute. If I erase... Hold on. Whoa, no, don't do that. Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah, never used it much myself, but definitely better to batch if possible. Yeah, the main thing is the batching of the colliders. So whenever I modify it, you can see, like, the collider... You can see the colliders get batched. So that way we don't have, like, you know, 400 physics objects. We have, I think, one in this case. But yeah. But, like, what I'm going to be able to do is I'm going to be able to paint all of these things, and then maybe we'll be able to paint, like, you know, some kind of special tile that it knows to randomize at runtime. You know, so that way we can have partially procedural, partially designed map. Yeah, not overloading the physics. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's one of the main reasons I wanted to do this, so that, you know, you could design a map like this, and then you can just sort of load it at runtime and play it. And yeah, it's so cool. But yeah, the hardest part was getting it to map like a tile or a position to a tile. So like driving into a tile, it was very hard to figure out which one I was actually hitting. Yeah, after that, everything is super easy. Okay, so now I've just got to, I think I exported this one. Nothing wrong with dropping a couple of game objects as special tiles, overlay on the background. Yeah, exactly. I might do that for the, well, no. Actually, that's another problem with the tile rendering is that, or with the tile map stuff, is that it's hard to, I can't flip tiles. At least I don't think I can. Maybe you actually can. Actually, wait a minute. I might be able to. Let me see how Unity deals with tile data. Of course, this is the useless part of, I hate Unity's documentation. I hate it so much. The one thing that bothers me about Unity's documentation is that if I have the manual open for tile data, right? Let's say I want to view the scripting API for tile data. There's no way to do that from this page. What I would love is I'd love to just be able to go, like, this almost looks like a toggle to me, like manual or scripting API. But if you click scripting API, you just get taken to the default page. I really don't understand that. Add more textures to the atlas and then just randomly choose them. Yeah, I could do that. That's one way to do it, is so I could have like four different, you know, dirt sort of tiles. And then just randomly choose between them. It was just super efficient that I could do it within Unity itself. But yeah, that's one way I could do it. But yeah, it's just I lose the slight efficiency that I get from having Unity do it for me. But yeah, I could totally do that. Okay, so I have these that are not importing. Okay. Yeah, I think that's the correct way to do it with a tile map. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just, you know, yeah, I think you're right. I think that's the correct way to do it. But yeah, what I might do is I might, well, yeah, it's, yeah, there's some interesting things with this. I don't know. The change is gonna be a little bit interesting, but yeah, okay. Let me just do the simple part first, which is getting, or let me just do this the simple way first, and then I can think about how to do it in a more complex way. Can you select a tile in the tile palette and edit it? Oh, that's a good question. I don't think so. Oh wait. Maybe you can flip it with the edit button. So this is one thing that I learned about Unity's tile map. This is like the most asinine thing I've ever seen with Unity. And let me see if I can reproduce it. So what is it? So if I select the tile palette and then I click the edit button, so this edits the palette itself. So it's completely non-obvious, but this actually edits the palette itself. So if you basically go here, like if I click my cursor here, and then I click on edit mode, and then I go into paint. No, that's not how that works. Okay, never mind. Oh my god, there was a way to do it where I could basically get the cursor. There's a way that I could do it where I could select, what was it? Did I select that? No. Did I select that, and then I select that, and then I do that? No, that still doesn't work. Wait. I don't understand. It doesn't allow the tile to be edited. Oh cool, there's move and rotate in the select. There's a move, rotate, and scale option. Wait, what? What do you mean a move, rotate, and scale option? So in this case, I don't know, I'm trying to reproduce this bug that I saw yesterday. So if we go into edit, nope, that still doesn't do what I thought that it does. Because there was a way yesterday that I was able to basically select something. So you select a tile. Oh, so this is grid selection. Oh, I see, okay. What does this modify? Okay, so that's a rotation. What happens if I rotate that? What on earth? Whoa. Wait, what? Whoa, 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 oh. Uh-oh. Well, that's fun. Okay, well, Unity was not expecting that. Wow. Okay, so apparently the tile editing in Unity is still a little bit janky, because I've never seen that crash before, and that's the second time today I've managed to do that. Tile maps in Unity are janky. That's fun. So what it was me pressing Control Z that broke it, and Unity had no idea how to deal with that. Thankfully, tile maps are... Yeah, thankfully tile maps are a little bit robust in that sense that, yeah, I think this will still work, right? Please tell me this still works. Yeah, everything still works. Okay, cool. Yeah. I don't know what the point of the tile palette is. I don't know that I actually need it for anything. I think it's just for the user. But yeah, let me go here into edit again. So what happens if we... Wait a minute. So what happens if we rotate this by, let's say, 45? Oh, whoops, no. Rotate that by 45. What on earth happens there? Does that really place that at a 45-degree angle? No. Why? Whoa, okay, yeah, it does. What? What on earth? You can definitely rotate them. Why would... That's interesting. What happens if I hit play here? So that doesn't modify the tile, the base tile. Okay, I got it. Right. Cool. Okay, I understand now. So the tile palette gives a tile extra rendering data. That's what it does. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now why this is actually useful. So, oh, okay, right. Okay, so if I wanted to flip them, I just modify the tile data, and then, oh, wait, what? Scale. What? Why? I don't understand, no. Okay, so it's... Why? I'm very confused. Why is that moving? Why is that moving? Oh, that's so weird. Alright, modify the transform? Nope. Okay. You can make it 90 to 70. Oh yeah, you're right, I could do that too. You're right, I could do that. That's a good point. Actually, what I can do, instead of doing that, is I think I can just set the tile data directly. Because I think I can just do dirt.setTileData? No. Huh. Set tile flags. Tile flags. By chance, does tile flags just have flip X, flip Y? No, okay. Never mind. But yeah, you're right, I could just do 90, 80, 180, 270, etc. So yeah, that could work. Okay, we'll have to try that at some point then. But I thought you could set the tile data for each position? Was that not a thing? So scriptable tile. Oh, this is scriptable tiles. Okay. So these are flags. Unity tile map scripting. Hey Elias, how's it going? What are we doing today? So what we are doing is we created our little game for Let 'em Dare I guess last weekend. And so what we did over the past couple days, we converted everything from spawning like individual game objects to just spawning a single tile map in Unity. And so now basically the advantage of doing this is that instead of having like, 400 plus colliders here, we probably have, so instead of having 400 plus colliders, we have a single collider that is like completely optimized. It's hard to see, but if I edit the tile map, you can actually see it. So if I go here and I erase some of these, you can start to see the outline of the tile map. So what's the game about? So this is a game, let me just go to the main version. Where is the main scene? Where is the main scene? There it is, okay. So I think I cleverly kept a backup copy of the original. So basically what you do in the game is you have your little drill here, and you can drill through various blocks to gain money and to also gain fuel. So you see in the lower left we have our little money amount, so we can break money blocks to get money, and then we can break fuel blocks to actually get our fuel back. But the goal is it's an infinite sort of thing where you just try to find the exit. So if you press Q here, we go to the next level and we basically repeat. And levels get larger as you continue. And so again, this was made in 48 hours for Ludum Dare. But so in this version of the scene, we actually spawn a different game object for each tile. And so you end up with all these crazy game objects. Do the other things kill you? Yeah, they kill you. So if I click start, if we go here, what'll happen is they will, whenever I get within range, they will start to rotate their turret, and if it actually gets to me, it'll just shoot me and kill me. So like that, yeah. So it's very, very punishing, but you do have quite a bit of time before they actually hit you. Yeah, that'll probably change later on whenever I do more updates to it, but the main thing I'm concerned about is getting the tile maps optimized. Yeah, so let's look at the scripting API. There's probably a way. This is the layout grid. Is there anything I can do with tile data? It may be a good mobile game. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, actually. I was working on adding some mobile controls to it. The big part is the actual controls. So yeah, it looks like transform matrix of the tile. So it may be the case that we might be able to actually get tile data. I don't know if we can modify just the transform of an individual tile. I don't think we can. Yeah, I don't think we can. I think if we do that, it'll modify all of them. So yeah, I think we have to do basically what you said, Vulcan, basically create different versions of the tile. Because I believe in Unity, whenever I get, where is it? The tile here. I believe whenever I end up with this tile, I think this is like, I think all the tiles of type, A share the same tile. Like, share the same tile object. But whenever I was talking about the observable thing, this is what I actually ended up coming up with. Or actually, let me show you the use case for it first. So in the UI, or actually, what's a good example? So like in the UI, if I do this, so we have like this durability bar here, and so as we dig, it goes down. And so the thing is that this is like very ubiquitous. It's very common to have this, right? So you have like a thing where you have a minimum value, a maximum value, and like an actual, current value. So you do the same thing with like health and with fuel and with money and stuff like that. And so what I ended up doing was I ended up creating this range thing. And so basically it has an observable, which is the current value, and then it has another observable, which is a tuple, which contains the max and the min. And so the way that I ended up using this, or I ended up implementing this, is with two subjects, C#'s event type. So personally I don't like events, I prefer actions. So So I tend to use actions like this. So the action of T, because you can subscribe to them basically the same way that you can with events. I don't know the major difference. I don't think you can do this with events though. But yeah, I just tend to prefer actions. And so as long as you clean up the action, everything is fine. But yeah, this is what I ended up doing with it. Is basically it's a couple subjects, one subject for the actual value, and then one for the bounds. But the major difference between this and other things is that with the subject, you can actually read the current value. Like this is the main thing that I wanted that observables don't have, is that you can't grab the current value. So what I can end up doing, or what I can do, actions are just events without the event keyword. Okay, thank you, Zaisha. Yeah, that's what I thought, but I wasn't entirely sure about that. But yeah, so one thing I don't know is there any good way, so for like an implementation of like remove all listeners from an action, I don't know if there's any good way to do that. Yeah, hey Zaisha, it's good to see you. Yeah, I was struggling. I don't think there's much of a difference between event is a pub sub. Yeah, I think an action is just a type of, it's just like a common version of the delegate for like I think it's just a better, or not better, but like it's almost like a type def for a delegate. It's just like a very common one. But yeah, I don't see the point in building individual delegates. I mean, I guess there's a point, but I don't know. I prefer not. But yeah, the main thing that I'm not sure about with actions is how you clean them up properly. Like if I wanted to remove all listeners from an action, the only way that I could find to do it was that you have to actually create a list of listeners, and then each time you subscribe, you just add one. Yeah, you can sub to an event. Actions are just one event. Okay. Yeah, the only way that I found to remove all listeners from something was to basically just store a list of the listeners, and then whenever you call remove all listeners, iterate through it, and then just call the minus equals on the actual action itself. That's the way that I found to do it. But anyway, the major advantage of having a subject that you can actually write a value to is that in player controller, like all I need to do for money is just say the range, and that it's just a range. And so I can say that it's a range that starts at 0, has a minimum value of 0, and has a maximum of 999. I don't like pubsub for linking across hierarchies. I don't like this for linking across hierarchies. Linking within hierarchies, but across. I don't know what you mean by linking across hierarchies. Yeah, I don't know. The main reason that I did it was just so that I could do something like this. Is because what I wanted to express was that money is a value that other people are going to want to listen to. Specifically, the UI is going to want to listen to it. And it's going to have a value, like it's going to have a default of 0, a minimum of 0, and then a maximum of X. And so now, anytime the player like gets money or something, or if I check whether the player can buy something, all I have to do is say, if money.current. Or, anytime I want to update it, like if the player gains money, I can just do stuff like that. So pubsub or events for linking from parents to children work nicely. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I think the main reason that I end up using pubsub is for the observer pattern. I think this is it's an implementation of the observer pattern with I don't think the observer pattern strictly includes that the subject maintains its value. Let me double check. But I don't like this pattern for transferring data between children of two different parents. Yeah, see, the only real reason that I used this is so that I could do that. This is what the UI uses. So let me find the UI. The UI, all it does is it finds the player and then it'll subscribe to the value, and then that's how it actually sets up the money and stuff. So then the player is, all it has to do is I just have to give money to the player, and the player will delegate that across to the UI itself. And so the same thing is true for the durability and stuff like that. Common ancestor to pass them down. But how would you... So in this case you'd have to put... So in this case the player and the UI would have to have a common ancestor? That's what I'm not getting. So in this case if I wanted... So you'd have it so the player and the UI had a common ancestor? Although I think that's because I always forget to unsubscribe from these things. Yeah, so in this case, Unity has... Oh, well. That's what I tended to use events for, having the UI update itself via change events. Yeah, I mean, that's the main reason that I wanted this, although I think there's other cases you could have. So, by forgetting... So, yeah. Speaking of forgetting to unsubscribe from things, I have forgotten to unsubscribe. Thankfully, I think the player forcibly does it. I think I put it in the player. Yeah, okay, so here's what it does. So instead of unsubscribing, the player just like ejects all the listeners. This is the only part of this pattern that I hate, is that I have to remember to do this or it causes a bunch of leaks. So yeah, that's the only downside to this pattern. Prefer to pass a player into the UI root every frame and let it propagate. Oh yeah, that's a way to do it. Huh. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that is a way to do it, actually. I prefer to pass a player into the UI root every frame and let it propagate it down. Huh. Yeah, okay. I don't know how I feel about that, just because you have to remember to read from it. But I guess if you remember to read from it at the end of every frame, then it would basically be the same thing. Well, okay, I guess the only difficult part would be if you wanted to, let's say, trigger an effect. It works better with Godot's tree hierarchy. Yeah. Well, I mean, in Unity, you could get a similar effect by just limiting yourself to one component per game object. But yeah, that's actually an interesting pattern. I might have to try that one day. I think you could run into issues where you do like range limiting as well, like limiting. Because the other thing this does for me too is anytime I set whatever the value is, it does enforce the range checks. I mean from parents to children. Oh yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about. So in Unity there are ways to push push messages down. Just like having children linking to those of other parents. Yeah, I could see that being difficult with Godot's structure. Unity has some nice things, like it has find object of type. So if you know that you only have one player, it's very easy to find it in Unity. Although I think in Godot you could implement something very similar. But what I wanted to check was on source making. Let me check the observer pattern really quickly here. There ends up being some inspection/search into another hierarchy. Yeah, I think Unity, because I think this has been abused so much, I think Unity itself, yeah, do that with recursive tree search. Yeah, I think because people in Unity have abused this so much, I think it's actually like super efficient in the back end. I think what they do is I think they store a dictionary from A to B, where you have like, player controller as the type, and then you have some, hash tree or something of all the values. Oh, it isn't really. I thought they had optimized this. Or is it just get component that's been optimized? Because I know get component has. But is this really still suboptimal? I thought it was. Okay. But yeah, I know that get component, I know they've, optimized the heck out of that, because people abuse that to no end. As far as I know, all the fine stuff is quite slow. Really? Huh. Okay. Maybe that one was never touched. But okay, so observer, subject. Okay, so yeah, subject usually does have a get state. Okay, this is the main thing that I wanted. I think it's mainly because you can't control what happens to those other game objects in different hierarchies. They might vanish at any time. Yeah. Please note that this function is very slow and is not recommended. Was slow. Is it really? Is it still slow? I thought someone had told me that they optimized it. Unity get, or Unity find object of type. Scripting. Find object of type. Is it still? Oh yeah, so it is. Every frame, in most cases, you can use singleton pattern. Okay, fair enough. Now, did get component get optimized? That's not on here. Not find object. Not find object. Get component. That's from... Okay, so this one doesn't have the warning. Singleton pattern works nicely for a common ancestor. Ancestors off the singleton without being statics. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very much against singleton stuff. Percentage guy. Hey, percentage guy. Yeah, I don't know. My philosophy is that the static keyword in object orientation has no place. That's just my opinion. So that's why I tend to avoid singletons unless it's too convenient to do otherwise. They say singleton because it assumes there's only one in the scene. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't like the statics that most singleton stuff requires. I mean, I know you can do it without static, but it's harder. Like if you have like a DI container, it's like singleton makes a lot more sense. And you can set up DI in Unity, but has some interesting / disputed parallel implications. Yeah, I just, you know, I don't know. I know that not everyone agrees, but yeah, my opinion of static is that in an object-oriented language, it has no... Yeah. I don't know. In my opinion, static has no place in an object-oriented language. It just needs to be kicked to the curb. But I understand why it's practically useful. But yeah, the whole problem with static is that the whole philosophy of object orientation is that you use objects to do work, and the whole point of static is that you don't have an object. So in my opinion, it makes no sense. Storing a static list of zombies on a zombie type. Yeah. So from any zombie, you can get the entire collection. Well, yeah, but see, what I would do there is I would use a factory. Brings things into the global scope. Yeah. I would use a factory if I was going to do that. And so the idea is that every zombie would have to be produced from the factory, and then the factory would just keep the collection itself. That way, you would be forced to have the singleton. You know, you wouldn't even be forced to have a singleton factory. You just have to have a factory, right? And then you would use, you know, the zombie itself might have a reference to the factory. That way, if it needed all of its children or it needed to propagate a message, it saves them from having to add them to the global zombie list every time they die. Yeah, I mean, I would just do it with the factory, or with a factory or something. And that's another issue with Unity, is setting up factories and things doesn't make a whole lot of sense because of the prefabs they have. But yeah. So it looks like they don't have any warning on this. So, interesting. But yeah, I didn't know it was... Static is fine, after all, OP. For all object in games is subpart anyway. It's necessary for global state. No, it's not. It's not necessary for global state at all. I disagree. And the reason of that is because if you have, basically any global state should be expressed through a common ancestor. So if you have state that is global to your application, what you should have is you should have an object that represents your application, and then any other objects that get created need to be created from that common parent, or from that from that object that represents your application. You know, your like the original idea of object orientation is that an object is responsible for its dependencies. But yeah, I don't agree. I don't think that you need static at all. I think you could get away without it, but I do recognize that it is extremely convenient. Having a common ancestor can replace the global state. Yeah, that's what I mean, is that you can, it's not necessary because you can replace it with global state. Or with, you can have, if you have a common ancestor and you have a language that is designed to let you do that, then you can just replace global state with that. And there's advantages to that, but yeah. But I mean, like, if I wanted, like, again, like you were saying, if you wanted to have a list of all zombies, which is the thing that I agree with, it's kind of cool. I used to do the same thing with, like, projectile systems and whatnot. But you have a factory that produces them. And so that factory knows basically where every single one is. You know, it knows where all of them are in their existence, you know, in their life cycle, basically. I mean, now you have to add a lot of callbacks and stuff to get that working, but that's where the observed pattern and these types of things. You inject dependencies at runtime across objects. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can see where you get issues there. It's just, you need strong lifecycle management in the objects. I don't know if Godot gives you a message when an object is destroyed, but Unity does. So in Unity, basically, an object gets an on-destroy message whenever it gets removed in the scene. So if that happens, all you do is you eject all the listeners from it, and then the UI itself basically doesn't get these callbacks anymore. And so even if you delete the player, no errors. So like I can actually, okay, yeah, it does, good. So like if you're wondering about the breaking thing, what I can do is I can actually delete the player and I'll have no problems. So here, if I run this, so the UI is measuring the player. And so what I can do is I can just, whoops, not even, oh, no. Can delete that, yeah. So I can delete the player and I get no issues, and the UI is perfectly okay with that. Of course, nothing will happen, but yeah. I can hook into unsubscribe from things, but that's something I commonly forget. Yeah, but every listener also needs to unsubscribe when it gets deleted. Yeah, the listeners need to unsubscribe, that's true. That's kind of an issue. Well, needs to is probably a strong word. Yeah, I think needs to is a strong word. This game, for this specific game, the time between calling on destroy is sufficiently low, which is to say that it's every level. I end up just destroying the player, and so all the listeners get ejected anyway. But yeah, it is sort of an issue where, yeah, it's kind of hard to force everyone to unsubscribe. But I think you could do that through its own, I think you could do that with its own message or something. Otherwise I'm left with hanging references to things that don't exist. Yeah. I mean, I guess what you could do, there's terrible ways to do it. Yeah, I'm on about linking objects that might vanish partway through. Just keep forgetting to unsubscribe from things. Yeah. I mean, so, okay. So there's an awful implementation that you could use. So what you could do is if you know something is going to subscribe, right? You could use a common, like, type of observer. No, wait. You could use some kind of... No, actually, I don't know. I don't know enough about attributes in C# to say something about this. But what I'm wondering, in C#, could you do an attribute where you said, hey, subscribe to, could you basically push subscriptions into an attribute? Because if you could, right, you could make, actually, let me try this. I wonder, oh my god, I wonder if that's a thing. Wait a minute, let me try this now. I have an idea. The common ancestor pattern works for me better than pub stuff across hierarchies. Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably fair. Not everyone. Well, yeah, it's pretty bad. But yeah, you could do something with reflection. So what I'm thinking is you could have like an attribute, right, that declaratively says what you subscribe to, and then whenever you get your onCreate message, you could yeah, whenever you get your but then you'd be using reflection. Yeah, so I'm not like I get that I apologize, your name and Vulcan's name are actually very similar in my chat. So like in terms of color, and they're also a little bit similar length, so it kind of blends together. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not against reflection in the sense of like just adamantly against it, but you know, I don't like it, but it's not terrible if you do it once. Because I'm thinking that you could do it once when the object is created and once when it's destroyed. As long as you're not doing that for something that gets created and destroyed, like, you know, very, very heavily, you know, a lot of times. And usually for a player, you're not creating and destroying them, you know, multiple times a frame or anything like that. So actually, I think it would be fine. Again, if you could set up like field references or something. So if you could say like, I know this isn't the right syntax, but if you could say like, you know, subscribe to the, you know, this dot, or you know, this dot player subscribe to, well, no, that wouldn't be right. You would say, you know, subscribe player dot money dot value or something. And so or you know, something like that. And so the idea would be that whenever you have the on create message, you just subscribe to this. But the cool part is that since you've subscribed to it through an attribute, you can store the idea that you subscribe to it, and then whenever you have an on destroy, you could just unsub to it because you'd know that you subscribed to it. But I don't know. Let me see if you can actually do that. I bet you can't do it this way, but I want to try now. Because if you can, that would be amazing. And as long as I knew the limitations, yeah. I don't think I've ever done, no, I've done attributes in C#, but I haven't done them recently. So let's say it's a subscribe attribute, right? Let's try this. So we have to inherit from system, or sorry, we have to import system. And then let's say that we have to use attribute, right? And then so can we create a public, let's say an action, and then this would be, oh, but this would, ooh, that would be a problem. Can attributes be generic? I would bet not, right? That's not a thing. There's no way that's right. No? No. Wait. That's interesting. Okay. I've never seen that error message before. Yeah, I would guess that they can't be generic. That's fair. Alright. I understand. Okay, so let's say that this is a float, and let's say that this is we subscribe to, say, a target, right? So now, in theory, I should be able to say, for set durability, I should be able to say subscribe to, and now, can I just say, I bet I can't reference a field here, but let me try anyway. I don't know the rules in C#, and they seem to be a little bit different than Java. So can I do player.money.value? You're not gonna let me subscribe to a reference, are you? Object required is a field, non-static is required for a non-static, yeah, okay. I assume I can't do this. No. Does not contain a constructor that takes 1 argument. What? What do you mean it doesn't? Do I really need to add a constructor here? Action. Like, I assume none of this is valid, but I figure I might as well try. Need a constructor. Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah, I guess this is not valid in that case. And so you can't reference this because it's not, okay. So there's no way. Oh wait, actually, can I reference this that way. No, I can't reference the type like that. Can I reference type of? Assuming type of. Can we reference that? No. Okay. So there's no way to do a method reference this way, is there? By chance will it accept? Yeah, so by chance, instance and type. So the problem is with an attribute, I don't think you can provide an instance. What if we do this? What if we use a function from here to this, reflection it, and call it? Possibly. No, it's not gonna let me do this, is it? It's not gonna let me do this. There's no way to do a method reference like this, is there? So 2 parameters, instance and type. Yeah, but with an attribute, I don't think you can reference instances. That's the problem. Is that I need a way, basically I need a way to point to this method, and I don't think there's a way to do it. I don't think I can just say, you know, that I want to point to this method on this type. I don't think I can do that, which is sad. But yeah, I don't think I can. Yeah, I don't think I can. Can I just do this? You let me do that? No, you don't like that. Alright. Yeah, wait, why do you have name? Oh, name. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I can't just reference a member. Oh, that's sad. Alright. That's what I figured, is that you can't do that, but I would have to, you'd have to know what instance. Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem. So like what I'm wondering, so the thing that I don't understand is why this isn't an acceptable way to reference that. Because, so what I'm thinking, right, is that from here, or we should say value. So I never understood why this is not a valid way to do this. So the idea is that the signature is, they have a function, so given a player controller component, I will give you back a float, right? That's the contract. So if I were referencing player controller component.money.value, that is a float, or that's an I observable of t, but in this case, it turns out to be a float, right? Oh no, this is an int. Okay, so this is a bad example. Fuel, .fuel. So this one is a float, right? So given, I don't understand why you can't point to this method, right? Because if I were to, like, you could create a function that would meet this criteria. Because given, like, even though this is an instance like field, if the contract is that I have to give you a component anyway, you have your instance here and you get a float back. So this expression should be valid, like from what I'm thinking. Like, I know that you can't reference things this way in C#, but you have to extract the metadata from it. Yeah, you'd have to do this in a more complex way. You could probably do it with a static method, so I could probably point to like public static fuel or something. Pull the reflection data from the field rather than the field itself. Possibly, but I mean, I could just do, you know, like get fuel given a player controller component, you know, target, and then I just return, you know, float. And I just return, you know, target dot fuel dot current, right? So I think I could do this. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. How do I open that again? Ooh, I actually don't know. Solution Explorer? Yes, Solution Explorer, okay. So yeah, now given this, I should be able to say get fuel. Should be able to point to that, right? Huh. Seems convoluted. Maybe PubSub is just a bad architecture. Well, I mean, I agree that it's super convoluted. I just wanted to see if it would work. Wait, why is this not valid? No, really, why is that not valid? Because this is a function. Okay, this is C# just being lame. Okay, so the contract here. This is a function that maps from player controller component to a float. Okay. This is a function. It's a static function that takes in player controller component and gives you a float. So what exactly is the constructor actually wrong? So the constructor is, what do you mean the constructor is wrong? Because isn't this, how would I don't know what you mean it's wrong. Which is not a valid target has type, which is not a valid attribute parameter type. It's complaining that you can't have a function in an attribute constructor. Oh, okay. I don't understand why. Oh wait, can I just do a method reference actually? Wait. Oh no, I guess wait, no, wait, is that a method type? Hang on. I apologize. I'm not familiar with the rules in C# versus Java. I actually don't know. Oh, method info. Interesting. Okay, no, that's not what I want. This can just be a function. That's weird to me. I don't know. It's weird to me that this doesn't work. Like, to me, I feel like this should work because this is statically compiled, so we know what function it's pointing to, and we know that the function adheres to the contract. Method info is what you want? But that, you can invoke method info on an instance. Yeah, but whenever I do, the problem is, does this expression return method info or no? Because that would be the issue. Well, let's try it. Method info. But I don't think it does. I would imagine that method info is just a runtime thing. So let's say, oh, method info can't be parameterized. Okay, so actually I don't think that'll work. Because even if this did work, it would be dangerous. Yeah, that doesn't work. Okay. Cannot convert from method group. Is there no reference to a method group? C# method group reference. What is a method group? Is there any way to point to that? No, okay. Alright, wait a second. What do you... So is it even valid to reference this? What type are you? You don't know. A method group can't be assigned. Okay. Yeah, I think it's impossible to get this to work, sadly. But yeah, I figured it would be impossible, but I don't know enough about the limitations of C# method references. So the cool thing is that you can do stuff like that in Java because you can reference. So what you can do in Java that's really funny is that you can reference an enum value in an attribute, and what that will do for you is you can, because whenever you reference the enum value in the attribute, you actually reference behavior and state, because enum values are like instances of classes in and of themselves. So you could do these really funny tricks because you're not passing the actual instance method. Yeah, but in that case, so Zaysha, in that case, what was confusing me is that I changed it to reference a static method. And so I don't understand why, if I'm doing, so like, if I'm doing subscribe of player controller component dot get fuel, assuming that subscribe, whoa, no. Assuming that subscribe is defined as, assuming we have constructors such that, function of player controller component, float, and then target. What I don't understand is if this is the constructor for subscribe, right? So it's referencing a function that I give it a player controller and it gives me back a float. Why? This is a statically bound piece of code, so why is this not valid? Like this, I mean, it might have to do with this being an instance at runtime. That might be the issue, is that this is like actually an instance of an object at runtime, and so that's why it might not like it. But other than that, I don't see why this would be invalid otherwise, because this does fill this contract, and it's a statically bound piece of code, so it doesn't require an instance. So yeah, that's the part that I don't understand. But it might just have to be that it might just be the fact that this is like a runtime construct, and so there might be no way to push this into metadata. Right, but all methods aren't a function. Function is just a type. Yeah, but you can assign... Okay. Can I not do... Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Because I thought that I could do... Sure, do this. But I thought for sure I could do this. I thought this was valid. Yeah, so I guess the thing that confuses me is that this is valid here. Like, I can assign this method reference into a function here, but it's not considered valid here. So like this, like I know that this is assignable to this. Like I know that that's true. And I know that this is referenceable at compile time. Like this, the location of this code is known at compile time. So the part that confuses me is why this doesn't work. Because again, I think the only explanation could be that this would point to an instance or something. Like if I do, so wait, I guess if I did, actually, I'm curious now. If I do this, are you two equal to each other? Let's find out, because I am now curious. I bet this is why. I bet these two are not equal to each other. Yeah, I'll bet that these two are not equal to each other. Okay, so if these two are not equal to each other, that would explain the problem then. You're creating two instances. Okay, that's the problem. Okay, yeah, I think that's the issue, is that it's, so function, because function is an instance, so it requires, yeah, okay. Wait a minute. But, well, is this just an equality? Is this just the compiler being dumb? Do I actually need to do the equals? Is it just the compiler being dumb here? You'd want to look at how they're doing that check. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that it's, let's see if they're considered equal this way. Same function on same reference under the hood. They do appear to be equal to each other. I don't understand why, but different instances. Yeah, I would imagine that these are two different instances, but it's like comparing two vectors. So how does this... Huh. Same value, very different memory. Okay. Interesting. Contain a reference to the same function. Yeah. So they are effectively the same thing. Well, maybe. I think what it is, I think this is a runtime construct. My understanding of attributes is that they're basically serialized. That's my understanding. And so I don't think func is serializable. Like I don't think you can serialize this, and so I think you get that. I think that's basically the issue here. is that since you can't really, at least as far as I know, this is not serializable. And so if it's not serializable, then you can't store it in an attribute. And I think that's one of the issues with Java, although I guess it doesn't make any sense. Well, no, you can serialize enum references. So yeah, I don't know. If I had two function pointers, they'd point to the same thing. Yeah, I think Vulkan is just as confused as I am as to why this doesn't work. But I think what it is, I think it's this, and I don't think there's any way to point at static code in a compile time constant way. At least not in terms of like a type reference. So that's yeah, I don't know. This confuses me. It confuses me why this doesn't exactly work. If it has to do with the serialization thing, like this just can't be stored in the metadata for whatever reason. If that's the case, that would make sense to me as to why func can't. But other than that, I don't know what the compiler can't guarantee about this. I think you're using a runtime's type in a static context. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's what it is. Yeah. Taking the metadata about it could work, I think. But I don't think there's any way to get metadata at compile time though, is there? Isn't it only a runtime thing? I don't know how you'd reference the metadata. Can I just, so if I do get fuel, so if I do like player controller component, get fuel, I don't think there's any way, .memberwise clone, so I can invoke, but I can't. Oh, this is not even valid. So we can reference this, but we can't, it just dies after that. I don't think there's any way to get the metadata of it other than executing some code. Type of. Huh, really? Oh, so type up will give you a, but I think that this is, I don't think this can be, like, I know that you can do this, but I don't think you can execute these. Like, you can do get member, right? But the problem is that this turns into a runtime thing. Like, this should only go at runtime. I don't think I can put this in an attribute. I mean, I can try, but I don't think I can. Let's try. Attribute foo, sure. Attribute, public class, right? Yeah, I can try, but I don't think so. So let's say foo or attribute foo with method. So let's say system using system dot reflection. If this works, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So okay. So, all right. So let's save this. Why do we need the attribute here? Don't we just need that? Why do we need the attribute there? That's weird. I'm not used to that. So this of null. Parameter. Yeah, so we can't even ask for that. Because I assume int I 0. Okay, so this is a valid thing, yeah. Foo attribute. Oh, right, you're right. Okay, my bad. I forgot that was the naming syntax. Right, there we go. Okay. But yeah, it looks like the weird part to me is that it wants attribute constructor. It's not a valid attribute parameter type. See, this is okay. I'm just gonna call this a C# I'm just going to call this a problem with C#, is I've done something invalid here. Why is the error here? Why is the error not here or here? Because technically this constructor is not valid. Yeah, the constructor here is not valid because this is an attribute type and because I'm asking for method info. But according to this, it's okay. Problem and intended limitation are different things. No, well, I mean the problem, so the intended limitation, I agree with method info. This is the intended limitation. The problem for me is that it's putting the error here. In my opinion, the error should go here because this isn't an error with me using this attribute. This is an error with me, you know, parameterizing the constructor. Now I'm very curious if this is valid. I bet you it's not. No, it's not. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's what I thought. So it has similar limitations as Java, which is that you can't, wait. Is that an invalid parameter type? Yeah. So again, the intended limitation is that you can't do. I'm very curious why you can't, oh yeah, because you can't, well. No, wait, I'm very curious why that's not valid. Yeah, I'm very curious why that's not valid. That's very odd to me. It doesn't make any sense, but it makes about as much sense as everything else. No, wait. Is it that you can only reference value types? Wait. Is it that you can only reference value types? Where it shows technically you could create instances of that class without... Really? That's valid? That... I'm trying to think through that. That's weird to me. Okay. I guess if C# works that way, then okay. That makes some level of sense. Attribute is just another class. Yeah. So yeah, I guess part of my confusion is that I'm coming to this from Java, where in Java attributes are not classes, they're interfaces. So you can't actually do stuff like that in Java. You can only yeah, attributes are considered an interface in Java. Oh, I'm getting a call. From who? I don't recognize that number. I'm gonna have to let that go. See if they give me a voicemail. Okay, that's weird. Like, I didn't know that you could create... So I can actually just do... that? Wow, okay. That's very interesting. Okay. That's very interesting. I was not aware of that. Okay. I don't know. I would still say I disagree with this, just because, like, okay, if I were doing this, it would make sense to me why this is an error, because I know that in Java, null is not compile time constant. So if this were not compile time constant, that would make sense to me. But this is compile time constant. So if this is a valid constructor, and this is compile time constant, then I don't see why this is an error. That's interesting. Okay. But yeah, now I'm actually starting to appreciate why Java made their stuff the way that they did. Int is a nullable. Is that valid? Is that a valid reference? No. Okay, well, I figured. It's just syntax sugar, yeah. You would have just int, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree that there's like ways to work around it, but I still don't see why this is an issue. I don't know. Yeah, I don't fully see why it does this. Like, if I were doing this, like, I'd fully get it. Having it nullable, it becomes a box type. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's just a lot of stuff that I don't fully understand about it. Like, I mean, if I wanted this to be accurate, I bet you I could do... Oh, wait. Ooh, can it tell the difference between nullable and non-nullable types? Can it tell the difference between these two? So if I did... Wait a minute. So if I did this, can you tell the difference? You can. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. How does it tell the difference? Wait, how does it tell the difference? I'm now very confused about this. I mean, I think I understand what this effectively does. They're entirely different types. Yeah, but the expression is the same. Like, I assume the only way I can call this constructor is if I pass null explicitly, right? Int value type, null. Oh, nullable's a reference. Oh, this changes it to a reference type. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so these are not primitives. Oh, okay, now I understand. Oh, wow, okay. That's... Oh, that's weird. Wow. It's the exact same as using... Oh, that's so weird. Ooh, oh, wow, okay, I didn't know that. Okay. I understand why they would do that, but I kind of hate this now. Because that was not obvious to me at all. That's amazing. Okay. Huh. I do not like that the compiler still insists that this is an int32 then, because it's actually a nullable int32. And I think oh, so it uses the expression, okay. So I guess it's targeting the keyword. Keep in mind, all this code can be converted to .NET 1. Wow. Okay. That's still... And it would generate all the types needed. Okay. That's... Oh, that's so weird. Okay, I understand now. Okay, I get it. So in order to call... So if I had something like this, in order to call this constructor, I would need to explicitly make this nullable? Wait a minute. Haha, okay, so that is how that works. Alright. So otherwise, so by default it calls the int unless I actually cast it, at which point I can cast this reference to a nullable, then it becomes invalid, or I could pass null directly, at which point it would have to be the nullable version. Oh my god, that's crazy. That is just crazy, okay. So I understand a little bit more about that limitation then. Jeez, that's crazy. Well, thank you for explaining that, Zaysha. Like, my brain has just been twisted into very new shapes. But yeah, I never knew that the question mark just replaced it with a nullable. That's very interesting. It's gonna take me a while to figure out how I feel about that, because on the one hand, I get why they do the syntactic sugar. On the other hand, that's kinda... So wait, does that always convert to a nullable? So wait, does the question mark always do that, or does the operator... A lot of features in C# are syntactic sugar, yeah. So, okay. Given that, where is it? I'm trying to find it. So the question mark operator, does it do the same thing for other references? Does it always just do that for references? So, oh, come on, where is it? Where's an invoke? Oh, it wouldn't be in here, it would be in the range, right? So, God, where is it? No, it's in subject, right? So in this case, does it do the same thing? Is it basically just doing, like, you know, new nullable, like, action, float, you know, unchange, dot, you know, has value. Oh my god, really? Oh my god. That's how that's implemented? Oh my god, that's great. That's great. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's amazing. Okay. Well, it's a form of boxing. Okay. Wow. That's brilliant. That's crazy and brilliant at the same time. That's That's crazy. Okay, well. Wow, that's insane. Okay, I'm sort of just like at a loss for words now. That's okay. That makes a lot more sense now. Like I understand that. So can you override those? Sharp. Override boxing? Is there a way to do that? So is it possible? What I'm trying to figure out is basically whenever something gets boxed like that, does it get sent a message or no? Basically, is there any way to override that the same way there is to override like the plus and minus stuff? Or yeah. Boxing, yeah. Cool, great. In general, boxing means storing a value type instead of a reference type. Yeah. The way I used it, just more like a wrapper, I suppose. Yeah. What I'm wondering now, though, is, so like you can do operator override, or operator overload, right? So what I'm wondering is, since you can overload these, is it possible to overload the box and unbox? Because that would be interesting if there was. I assume not, but it'd be interesting if there was. Given that there's no example of it, I assume it's nothing. Oh, there's not. Oh, that's sad. Okay. Wait a minute. I assume we can't mess with this. No. Okay. Oh, sadness. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Like, that'd be cool if you could do that. I mean, there's no practical purpose to it, but it'd still be cool. But yeah, okay. Huh. Yeah, my brain has just been twisted. But okay, so I guess the subscribe thing... Well, okay. No, you really couldn't. No, you couldn't do it in any meaningful way, but like you could... There are ways you could do the subscribe thing. They would just... like all the ones that I can think of would just be awful. But I can think of ways to do it. But again, they'd all be awful. Yeah. Yeah, I think all of them are just awful. Like, I'm thinking you could do it with extension methods. So the idea is that you could create an enum in the class that you wanted that to work with, and then you could add extension methods to map from the enum value to the actual method you wanted to point to, but that sort of defeats the whole point. But it'd still be interesting. I might have to try that just to see how awful it would be, but I think it'd be too awful to actually use. Like, I think that's going to be one of the things that I miss moving from Java to C#, is that in Java you had ways of doing that, although they weren't great ways, but you could point to like executable pieces of code inside of an in annotation if you knew what you were doing. Like using a couple little twists and tricks of Java, but you can't, it doesn't seem like you can do that here. I suppose I can't point to properties. I don't think I can do any of the other cool stuff. Just trying to think of a good way to deal with like unsubscribing automatically. And I think reflection's the only way to do it. Yeah, I think reflection would be the only way to do it. I mean, the other thing, like in Unity, what I could do is I could just create like an onDestroy method, like some kind of parent object, just create some kind of onDestroy method. Well, actually, no. No, actually, you couldn't do that. Well, no, you could. I think you could. Yeah, so in onDestroy, what you could do is you could iterate through all fields, check if any of them are subscribable, and then iterate through all methods. Although that would be an n-squared runtime, and you wouldn't want that. But I mean, it's possible, but it's not something you'd want. So the only way to do it was you'd have to have some kind of attribute that specified it. I mean, I guess you could do it. No, you really couldn't. You could do it by name, but you wouldn't want to do that. Yeah, I can't think of any good ways to do that. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay, so what were we even doing? I don't remember. Let me just play this and see what happens. Oh, I know what we were doing. Okay, yeah, I remember. We were creating the money blocks. That's what we were doing. So we'll do that, and then I'll call it a stream. But yeah, that was a good few minutes to learn about that. So let's crop to selection, and then we will file, no, image scale image, 256? Yeah, 256, all right. Scale, and then export. To emerald, yes. Okay, and then I think we have one more, which is the fuel. Yeah, the fuel, okay. So we shall go to view. Yep, that's fine. Yep, that's fine. So image, crop selection, and then we export, or no, sorry. We scale to 256. 256, all right, cool. And then export to fuel. Fuel. Okay, let's just get rid of all that. And then let's duplicate this like 4 times. This will be tile. Money, emerald, and then all of you. Oh, we can't mass rename. We'll say sapphire, and then ruby. Ruby. And then we will say tile fuel. Fuel, yeah, okay. So for this, it's going to be that, and then it's going to be that reference. And then for emerald, it's going to be a similar thing. And then reference emerald. Then ruby. We reference that. And then sapphire. We reference this. Okay. Alright, and so now in the map generator, all we have to do is go into here. We should have a thing for, yeah, money blocks. Alright. So what we will do is we will have a protected list of tiles. And then that will be money blocks. Okay. Then in here, we should just be able to uncomment out this. Yes. Not equal to, so say block, passable block. We'll say that block is equal to this. All right. Or block, okay. No, not that block. that block. Yes. Okay, so in theory that all should work. That should just all work. Let's see. Oh, something broke. Oh, right. See, it works if we actually assign the things, which I always forget to do. Zaysha. Decompiler. Ah, okay. Wait. I'm not downloading that yet. So what's the decompiler? Nice tool if you ever want to explore what the compiler is creating. Okay. I thought that, doesn't Visual Studio have a decompiler as well? Or, I thought that it did. I might be wrong about that though. But I thought that I had used it at one point to do something. Oh, there, okay. Decompiler. Okay. Oh, so this is like its own, oh, .peak. Okay, I see, it's its own tool. Okay. That's cool. And so this will spit out like the IL or something? Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check this out because I wanna test out some things in C#. Like, people have told me that certain code generates, like, even though it's different code, it generates the exact same IL. And so I think that that's true, but I've never been able to prove it. And now that'll let me prove it. But yeah, thank you. I have to double check that. Okay. Okay, so it did work, but it's a little, things are a little not sized correctly. You can view your code in older .NET versions. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's awesome. So can you decompile? Fun to see what the compiler does for things like generic. Yeah, generics in C# and Java are pretty nasty. As far as I know, they're basically done the same way. Oh, like before generics were a thing, yeah. Well, I mean, aren't generics just like a compiler trick? Like, doesn't T, you know, well, whenever you have a type variable, doesn't it just generally get replaced with object? Or is that different across C# and Java as well? Because in Java, I know that it just replaces it with object, and it's very easy to confuse it. But yeah. But yeah, my understanding is that it does that. Oh, I'm doing this at 512. It's 256. That's the problem. Apply. It generates classes at compile time. Really? Really? For generics, it does that? That's crazy. I did not know that. Okay, so what's about to happen here? So this is about to, for every type you used, that's why it must know the types. Is that true? Really? Huh. Is that for older .NET versions or is that new .NET? Really, it does that? So they work like templates? Like, I thought that it did that for arrays, but I didn't know that it did that for generics. So in that case, does that mean that heat pollution is not a possible thing? Or am I wrong about that? I'll have to, okay. So what should happen here? This should change to, there's some optimizations to reduce the overhead, but in general, yes. Really? So okay. So if I did like list L is equal to new list. Oh, so that's not a thing, okay. So you can't do this, huh? Because it requires the generic type. Oh, so you can't actually, so we did this. Wow, so that expression is not valid in C#. Oh, that's interesting, okay. I did not know that because this sort of expression, like in Java, this is valid because you can, like in Java, you can use generics without the actual type parameter. Because in Java, generics really don't do anything. They're just compiler tricks. Wow, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Okay. So can I do it with iList then? No, I can't. Okay. Wow. Huh. So C# actually has proper generics then. Okay. So C# just generally, as far as I know, you can use list, but it only stores object. I mean, so in this case, it doesn't seem to be happy with that. Unless there's, oh, it's in system collections, isn't it? It's in collections, okay. Is it confused now? No. It's not confused, it's just like, no, that's not a thing. Filters, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I didn't know. So does that mean that type erasure is not a thing in C#? Is that what that means? Because that sounds like what that means. Let me check if that's what that means. Erasure. So does that not actually happen? Oh, you pass the type. You pass the type as a parameter. Wait, what? Wait. So what do you have to do? Do you have to do like new? Wait. Why did it not? New list. So new list type of int. Oh, but this will auto type it, right? No. It doesn't like this, unless it requires system collections. Is it in here that it likes it? No. I mean, I think that has some extra stuff in it, doesn't it? Or perhaps I'm forgetting something. I don't have an ID open. Yeah, I don't, like, I thought this, I know that this is valid in Java, so something like this is valid in Java, but I guess it's not valid in C#. That's interesting. Java, runtime information. Java uses type information. It doesn't really, I like how someone says it uses type erasure. No, type erasure is just a side effect. A lot of issues, you can't create it, generics don't create that, you can't use info, things like Java. Can't implement comparable, can't enter in two different T's. Oh, okay. Here's an example of what's possible with only information kept in mind. Huh. Terms of users roughly the same. Yeah. Implemented through type erasure. Oh, so it's intentional. There is no type erasure. Okay, so yeah, there is no type erasure. Interesting. Made for maximum compatibility. To respect every generic parameterization as object while the compiler automatically casts. Yeah. Wow, okay. That's crazy. I think it would have worked in an older version. Okay. So yeah, from what I'm seeing, it seems like, yeah, from what I'm seeing, it seems like it's been changed a little bit. But wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that C# had actual generics and Java doesn't. Like, I knew that Java didn't have actual generics, but I thought that C# didn't have actual generics either. Wow, that's crazy. I like C# more every single day. Like, the more I learn about it, it's one of those languages that, like, the more I learn about it, the more I like it. But yeah, I think, yeah. I think I got through everything that I wanted to get to today. And I learned a ton about C#. Like, geez, thank you for all the explanations. Like, it's crazy how much you learn. Like, it's crazy how much I don't know about it, and I don't know. I thought I knew more, but I guess I don't. Like, it's crazy, because I guess it's because it's so similar to Java. Like, my brain still learning stuff about it all the time. Yeah. I guess what it is that my brain knows that C# and Java have like a common ancestry. And so my assumption is, since the syntax is so similar, and since they have a common ancestry, I just assume that things are very similar between them. But I guess that's not true. And it still kind of bends my mind when I learn stuff like that. But okay. So yeah, this does seem to work. So we've got a drillable tile map here. Implementations are considerably different. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing that really throws me off is that they have a common ancestry. Whereas I was like, they do many of the same concepts. Yeah. I mean, they have the same concepts and they look the same. Like, on the surface, they look identical. Like, I'm sure that there are probably valid there's probably programs that you can write that are valid in both Java and C#. And yeah, I mean, given the right imports and things. But yeah, it's still crazy. We have our drillable tile map here. So the issue that we have is that whenever we start breaking a block, it turns into its block form, and it doesn't have the actual correct sprite. But yeah, we can fix that a different time. Anyway, I think I'm going to call the stream here, because I've learned too much for one day, and my brain needs to like take a second to process all this. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys learned something too, because I learned a bunch of stuff today. But yeah, hope everyone learned something. I'll see you guys on Monday. Thank you for watching.